Alright guys, I encourage you to follow up with me step by step to make the best use of this class. You will find all the stock images and the PSD file in the description. Let's go. This visual is inspired by the Chinese culture. So when I finished this visual, I wanted to create several versions of it, and each version was with different color grading which tells a different story. So here is a neutral grading, as you can see, and this one is more warm grading, and it's talking about something, let's say, in the past or some memories, something warm. But this version is more futuristic, more dreamy, and it looks like fancy. And let's talk about the inspiration, from where I got the inspiration for this visual. I have browsed ArtStation. I like it a lot, and I found several art pieces like this. As you can see here, I loved this foggy effect, so I decided to create this concept. As you can see here, these grounds, it's the first inspiration. And secondly, I loved this color grading, the gray tones with a little bit of blue. I love it, and the contrast between it and the fire's color, the orange color, is really good. So I wanted to create it, as you can see here. So this is not the first result. I'm now showing you the first art piece, which is not art piece at all. It's not good at all. I like to start through images everywhere because I believe that artists think with their eyes. So if you have an idea in your mind, you can just execute it quickly. As you can see here, I put everything here and there quickly to adjust the composition and to validate the idea itself, if it's gonna work or not. We have already talked a lot, so let's jump straight into Photoshop. I will start with 1920 by 1080p canvas, and this is the full HD size, and let's press create. Now let's start with this image. This will be the image of the rocky land or the rocky surface in which I will put the buildings. So let's make it bigger, like so. I only wanted this part, so let's make it a whole lot bigger, like this. And now let's cut it, and let's select this rocky part with the pen tool. I will speed some parts in this tutorial, assuming that you know the basics of Photoshop. Of course, you know how to cut images using pen tool. So assuming that, I will escape some parts, and of course, if there are some tricks, I will of course explain it for you, but the easy and the basic stuff, I will escape it. So let's just put some points here using the pen tool, and let's, I know you already know how to cut images. Let's just skip this part. All right, guys, here is our rocky surface after selecting, and it was basic selection, but this part I selected it and refined it by using a grass brush like this. And let's make it a little bit bigger, like so. I'm now just showing you how did I adjusted and refined the edges of the grass, because it should have some texture. So I'll just make it small, and with the grass brush, you can find it in Brush Easy. I will just refine these edges. Simple as that. That's it. That's how I have created this selection, like so, and then creating this transition, because selection is all about details. If you want your selection to look professional, you need to pay attention to details. Very cool. Now let's put it into a group, pressing Ctrl G, and let's press Ctrl T to make it bigger. So I'll put it here and start to make it bigger. Very good. Now let's get this image of the building. I will put it above the rocky surface. So all the images will be in the description, and I encourage you to follow up with me step by step. So now I'll use the pen tool to cut this building, and it's very basic and straightforward. It's just time consuming, and I know that you know the basics. So I will just speed up this process of cutting this building and get back to you in a moment. All right, guys, here is our building after selection, and I've selected it using the pen tool, and of course I have refined these edges using the grass brush the same way we did before, like this. We'll make it smaller, and I've just rotated and increase the flow and just refine these parts, as you can see here, because grass bushes should not be very sharp. Okay, now let's make it a little bit smaller and put it above, right above the rocky surface. We will worry about the composition later, but now we will just put the basic elements into our visual. So let's put it here. Let's refine the transition between the rocky surface and the building. So I'll just erase this using the hard edges, erase this part. And now let's start to enhance this part. Let's get back some parts here. And this transition, I don't like it. So let's use the grass brush to make it a little bit more realistic, like so. It's like some bushes are growing around these surfaces. So I'll leave this stairs part, and this is good. Okay, now let's get to the next element, which is the rocky part in the foreground. As you know, of course, if you want to create some depth into your visuals, you need to put some elements into the foreground, like this rock, and like this rock with the man. These are the foreground elements, and also this building. The midground elements are these parts here in the middle, and the background elements are like the sky and the mountains. And every layer of these should have specific level of brightness. So the very far parts should be not contrasty at all and should be light, or the lightness value should be high. The middle ones should be in between, and the front or the foreground parts should be the highest contrasty and with the highest value of darkness or the lowest value of brightness. So let's get back to our visual. Now let's select this rocky part. Let's first be organized. I will put each element into a group. Let's name it, because we will have a lot of groups and layers. We don't want to miss this. So let's name this building 1, and let's put this building inside it, and let's name this the foreground. Very good. Now let's select the rocky part, and as you have guessed, we will use the pen tool. Of course, I will select it fastly and get back to you. All right, guys, here's our rocky part. I will just make it a little bit bigger, like so. Very good. Now it's time to try to adjust the composition. So let's make this building part a little bit bigger, because it's a focal point into our design. And let's create another copy from this layer. Let's rotate it a little bit, and let's see how or where can we put it. I guess behind this one. And let's erase some parts from this rock. So I'll just restore the pixels that was deleted from the mask, and let's erase these parts, because I wanted the rocky part to be a little bit extended to the left. So let's erase. Let's get back this one, and let's erase it properly. Giving attention to details is what makes your visual professional and looks cool. All right. Erase this part. Very good. Now let's get our man image. Let's put it here, and let's flip it horizontally, and I will put this man, this person below, but let's firstly select it with the pen tool. Select it and get back to you. Okay, here is our guy. After selection, let's choose a specific place for him to be in. I guess this is not so cool, so let's put it here. Let's put this a little bit up, scale it a little bit down. I'm trying now to find a proper place for this, the person's image. I guess this is good. I guess we need to create another layer of rocks. So let's just, but before that, I guess we need to erase this rocky part, because we cannot see the man or the person properly. He is hidden behind this rock. So let's get rid of this one, erasing it, and let's move this guy a little bit to the left. Here's our layer. Now this is a proper possession, I guess. Very cool. Now it's time to create a rule of third composition. I will do this by pressing view and then press into new guide layout, and by creating 3 columns by 3 rows. This will create this grid. This grid will represent the rule of thirds. So we need to put our focal points into these points. This one and this one, this one and this one. These are the 4 focal points in which we should put our main parts of our visual. This will guide our eyes, or the viewer's eye, to the main important things into the visual. So according to that, I will just move this guy a little bit to the left, move the building to the right, and now we're good to go. Now I'm trying to build the composition, which is a very important thing, because it's like the foundation. It's the solid thing upon which we will depend into delivering the mass. So let's move it and put it here. Let's make it a little bit bigger. No, I guess we will lose the scaling. I don't like it. So it's okay to put it not exactly into the focal point right here. Maybe we can create another layer of rocks, I guess. I'm trying now to find the proper place near the focal point of the rule of third, and also a proper place to be around the surrounding rocks. So I guess we need to create another layer of rocks. So I'll just duplicate this layer, put it behind everything. Now let's put it right here. Very cool. I guess let's erase the other parts. I only want this part. I wanted just a rock for the guy to sit in. Simple as that. And I guess that's cool. And maybe we can erase some parts from this rock. And now we're good to go. Maybe we can just put this part a little bit to the right, and let's make the rocky surface bigger. Now we are good to go. We are now applying the rule of third in our composition, which a little bit ensures a good composition, as you can see. All right, now let's build the other parts of the composition. I could have just duplicated this part, right click, flip horizontal, and that's it. But I don't like it. This will be so repetitive and it will not be good for your eye, of course. As you can see, a lot of buildings with the same exact, they are identical. This is not good at all. So I tried to find some new buildings which have the same vibes, but new ones. So let's get this image. I found this image, which is pretty cool, puts some variation. So I'll just flip it horizontally and put it right here. Of course, I will firstly select this building and get back to you. By the way, I will select this by pen tool, as you have already guessed. So I will select it quickly and get back to you. All right, guys, here is the building after selection. I will put it right here. It took a lot of time to select this stuff, but it's okay. So I will just erase these parts. Let's use the soft rounded brush to erase these bottom parts, like so. Select this brush, I will just fade it from here. This will enhance the intersection between the rocky parts and the building. Very cool. Now let's duplicate this building, duplicate the whole group, because we will create another one, but let's put it behind everything. Let's name it building 3 and I'll put it here. Of course, I will make it a little bit smaller because everything gets smaller when it's far away and distant. Very good. Now this part, I don't like it, of course. This part will be shown. So we need to refine the selection of this part. We will do this, but after selecting our building, we will get this new building to put it here, because I've already told you, I don't like to create identical buildings. This will be like so repetitive. So I will select this one using the pen tool and get back to you soon. Here we go. Here is our building. Now let's try to fade the intersection between the rocky part and the building. Let's put it here, and with the soft-rounded brush, I will just erase these parts from here. Very good. And these parts also. Here and here. This part. Cool. And let's make the brush bigger and let's fade these parts. Very cool. Now it's time to refine this part. I will get back some of these plants or bushes or trees and I will just erase it sharply and I will create a specific shape for the plants, and then I will restore them back by using the grass brush, which will give me some texture in the edges. As you can see, right, like this, as I've already told you. That's how I select the plant's part. Let's also follow the shape of the plants, because even though if you created perfect selection but the shape doesn't look normal, this will not look cool at all. So it's time to put some elements into the midground. So let's get this image of the Great Wall of China. Let's put it here and let's create a new group. Pressing Ctrl G and let's name it the midground. This part will be the place between the foreground and the background elements. So I will just make it a little bit smaller, and as you can see, this image is very good because it's already having this depth and this hazing effect embedded into the image itself, where we don't need to create it, and that's very good. So now let's select this part by using the pen tool. I will use it quickly, and I'll not speed this part because it's very easy selection. Just select it quickly as this. You can select it using select sky option, but it's okay. It will be faded and we will not see it. So I will create selection, right click, make selection, and press OK, and then create new mask. Press Ctrl I to invert the mask, and let's put this midground group behind everything. Very good. Now let's here, I guess, maybe right here. Maybe we need to change the building 3 position. Let's put it here, and let's erase these parts from the bottom here. I'll just erase them with the soft-rounded brush, and this intersection will be blended better after adding colors and the curves and the other stuff, so it will not be visible like this. Now we just want to blend the images, not the colors or the lightness. Now we are trying to blend the shape and the form of the images with each other, and then we will care about matching the colors and the values and the other stuff. So just blend this part. Very cool. All right, now it's time to add this image. It's also a mid-ground part. Put it here. It has a hazing effect also. So let's put it right here, and let's put it behind the Great Wall of China. Here, let's put it here, and let's fade this intersection between two layers. Using the soft-rounded brush, I will erase this part, and from here also, of course. Very good. Very good. Okay, now it's time to fade or to erase this part from the sky. Let's increase the flow, and let's erase this part because we don't need it. We only just want these hills. Very good. Now it's time to add the mountains picture. Drag it and drop it here. Let's put it right here. I guess we need to open it into a new project. So let's firstly create a new group and name it mountain. And let's open it into a new project because we want to see our selection. So here I will just select this by the pen tool quickly, like so. I'm just selecting it quickly with the pen tool, and then right click, make selection, press OK, then create a new mask. And let's create a solid color with a black color because I want to see the background. And now what I wanted to refine is the edges. I want to select also these clouds that are around the mountains. So I will do this by pressing into the mask, and from the properties panel I will press select and mask, and with the refine edge tool I will refine these parts. Let's start with this cloudy part. From here I will just restore some transparent clouds that are around our mountain, like so, and here also, this part also. Very good. Let's get back this part again, and if I don't like some parts, I will just press Alt and restore it back. Let's restore this part. Maybe I will just not press Alt and get it back to its first selection, and this part also. Okay, feel free to take your time. I'll just do this quickly. Okay, that's it. I'll just press OK, and let's get our image to our project. Put it here. Press OK, and let's change position. Let's make it smaller first, and let's put it right here. Very good. I guess we need to erase some parts from here, maybe. Very good. Now let's press Alt and drag it and create a new one. Put it here, I guess. Let's choose this part, I guess. Very good. Now let's erase this part using the hard edges brush, and let's erase this part. Feel free to take all the time in the world to create perfect selection. Very cool. I guess we need to erase this part from the mountains and also from the hills of the mid-grounds part also. Now let's erase this part from the mid-ground parts. Okay, next I will bring this image to use the sky. It's a dramatic one, which I like, so I will put it behind everything. I will create a new group and let's name it sky. Now let's erase this part from the mid-ground because it doesn't look nice. So let's fade it and erase it. Very good. And let's get back some parts from the mountain. These parts, let's erase it. Now I think we need to adjust the composition a little bit. So let's make this part bigger. Let's put it right here. Now we're good to go. We are adjusting everything in the go, so don't expect that this is the final version of the composition. Of course, we will change things later, but this is the first step. So we may need to adjust some parts here and there even after finishing the whole visual. So it's okay. Feel free to always look at the picture with a fresh eye and edit whatever you like. So next we will add some other foreground elements. I will use this rocky image to create some foreground elements like this rock in the foreground. These are just framing or visual, and it's giving you some context about the composition. So there are some elements in the near part in the foreground, some other elements in the background. So I will duplicate it also and put this right here. Maybe this will create frame our visual like so. And then let's erase this rocky part with the brush or the edges, and let's erase it like so. Very good. Very good. Now it's time to add the bridge image. So let's grab this image and put it here, and right click, flip horizontal, smaller, and right click and then flip horizontal. And then let's make it a little bit smaller like so. Here is where it will be. Now it's time to select it, and it will take a hell lot of time to select it because as you can see there are a lot of details. So I will just select, as you can see, this part. What I'm showing you now, this is the only part I will select using the pen tool. That's it. But it will take a lot of time, of course, because these parts inside. And let's go. All right guys, here is the bridge after selection. As you can see, I've separated everything from the background using the pen tool, and of course this grassy part I've already used the grass brush to select it. Let's make it the brush smaller like so. This is the same way we select grass everywhere in our visual. Okay, and now it's time to refine this part and to add some legs for our bridge. So let's select this part using the polygonal lasso tool, and then let's press Alt, Control, Shift and press into the mask. This will select the intersection between the mask and the selection we are doing now. So we're now just selecting this part, and then let's press Ctrl J to create a new layer with the leg or this part. We'll just put it here, so, and now let's erase this part using the eraser. I'll just erase this part, maybe the soft-rounded brush to fade it out, and that's good. Very good. Now let's extend these legs. So I will just like this and press Ctrl C and then Ctrl Shift V. This will create a duplicate in the same place, and then let's press Ctrl T to extend this part like so. Very good. And maybe we need to erase some parts from here. Let's press Ctrl E to merge these two layers, and let's erase some parts, and then let's press Alt and drag it and put it right here. I just wanted to expand this leg, and now we need to duplicate these two layers, put them behind the bridge, and this will be the 4 legs, as you can see here. Simple as that. We will just bring everything into a new group, and then let's drag it and put it into our main visual. Now let's make it smaller, and I will just put it right here. Very good. Let's put it behind the foreground, and let's name the group bridge. Very cool. Very cool. Now let's change the position. I guess this is a good position. Maybe we need to refine the edges to blend it better with the rocks. So I will just create another layer of these rocks, or change its position and put it right here. This is another layer of the rocks to blend the bridge better. Very good. Let's put it here and let's erase some parts. Let's erase this part and this part needs to be erased here and here. Very good. And this part also. Now it's time to bring the moon image and put it right here. I'll just put it right here, exactly in the middle, and let's select it using the select object tool. But let's firstly put it into the sky group, and using the select object tool I would just select it. Boom, easy peasy. Then let's create a mask and that's it. This part I guess needs to be edited in the building 3. So I will just restore some parts like this. Very good.